come to the bold analysis. There is a topic that is not fading off our minds. And this is about what I want us to look at in this analysis. I have seen the public being fed with very misleading information, misinformation, and disinformation aimed at winning the discussion about brutality in the public. We need to say it that no one deserves to be brutalized in the hands of the security, be it a journalist, the Kenyan public protester, the politician, or anyone. There is no justification to it. Now, I want to look at this defense narrative that is being led by Mohamed Gichopevu, who was once a journalist, and is leading the narrative that the journalists who were attacked in Pipeline were actually embedded with the Azimio brigade. And their only point is because of the vehicle they were in. Look at this tweet, and is creating a reference to that of the US. In a war zone, you get embedded with the government. If you get to do it with the criminals, then you will end up suffering when the government attacks. That's why US journalists were always embedded with their military in Iraq and many parts of the world. So according to what Mohamed Gichopevu is saying there, he seems to insinuate that the leaders that are in Azimio are criminals. Sad, barbaric, backward, and not it. So, that allegedly what he's simply trying to say here is that those journalists were on the side of Azimio, or rather because they were in the Azimio's vehicle, that was an offense. I want us to face that, and today I think I've been trying to talk to a couple of photo video journalists around. Yeah, some of which even at the hospital, and we visited a few. Some of our two friends there. And there is a clear account of what happened, and there is that which the public is not being told. So I will make sure you subscribe and watch this video to the end so that you get to understand what you've not been told. And I also want to thank you very much for your support to this channel. I've embedded my number there for any financial support. We'll be grateful. So I want us to look at it. I want us to start here because this has been the center of discussion. That those two vehicles, that is Raila Odinga's sound vehicle and the media vehicle. It has those speakers and the sound, and even the DJ is there, and also have the other media equipment. So it was allegedly shared that that vehicle was concealed, the identity was concealed. It's true, but this is the same vehicle, but on this day, it was concealed. The identity was concealed. It was concealed because for other purposes, and of course, not to show that for security purposes, and that's a common practice that people do. Even politicians do it. So it's not something new. And the reality here is it is the same vehicle. So I want us to look at this matter because that is what I said. What happened? On 20th March, which was the first day of the protest on Monday, all the media houses took feeds from Raila Odinga Azimio TV. Verified information. Except one, and I will not tell you. I will not tell you which one because I don't want to profile media houses. Except one that did not take from Azimio feed, and immediately, I think after that, you realized that Communications Authority complained. The Chiloba letter complaint of them not having done it professional. And it's true, it could run the risk of having a skewed coverage because they were taking feed from Raila Odinga. Remember, from the first mass action, the 20th one, you didn't know what government was planning. So you could not just hurry and put on your things. You put up, you deploy your journalists there. You don't know how the government is going to react. So they pulled out, but they got that feed from Raila Odinga. After Chiloba Commission complained, so on 27th, it was the second mass protest, the video were deployed. But something happened. And I got this, I was asking this, and it was very interesting. That the media houses were, and I wanted to look at this photo here. This photo, I pulled up this photo from a video. This photo tells you as you can see, the media, the cameraman, akombele Raila. So that's when you can get the photo ikiwaangea nyuma and the audience, and you can also pan and see what's happening in front of Raila. So on 27th, only K24 got the right shot. All the journalists were behind, so they could not get. So the editors were then wondering, where is it that, there is one photo that there is one shot that everyone else is looking for. Ilya crowd. That is the photo that everyone else is looking for. The way crowd is reacting. That's the psychology of, that is the expectation. Come on, if I'm getting it wrong, or you can answer me. When you're following protests, what do you want to see? You want to see protesters. So when they were summoned, after they did a review, after the second mass action, they decided, then look here, let's go to how best can we get this shot. The best way to get this shot is to be in that lead car, in that Raila Odinga's media vehicle. Now this is the vehicle there. So it was agreed that, number one, media houses can afford, they have cars, of course, but the cars ziko nyuma. They cannot be in front. Like this is Raila. So there is operation, there is security huku, the other leaders, and then the lead car, the media car. The media car was decided is the lead car. So for them to get the shot, and I want the Kenyan public to understand, for them to get the shot, they agreed unilaterally to be in that Azimio media vehicle. And I wanted to look at this photo. This is a photo of journalists on top of that vehicle. They were on top. They were not inside. So I was even wondering what the police were trying to achieve by now lobbing tear gas inside the car. Now, when they're on top, the reason why they went to use that, it's not embedding as what Mohamed Jichopevo, and I think Mohamed Jichopevo knows, they know very well they are lying to the public. Lying, totally lying, and they know the truth. It's not nothing, it's in the interest of getting the right shot. The journalist cannot be behind because you can't get it. So when they were on top of it, there are two advantages of being on that Raila Odinga's vehicle. That was the 30th. Number one, that vehicle is fully fitted with OBS. OBS is the live stream software. For those who can go and check, you will just go and Google OBS, you'll know what OBS is. It's the live stream software. It's fully fitted. So you can easily live stream. Number one. Number two, the video journalists are supposed to, the cameras can always go off. But now that video, because that vehicle is fitted with everything, you can even charge your camera there. So you don't run the risk. If you're keen, you realize that in that vehicle there were some cables that were dropping from the cameras getting inside the car. And that's where the cables were actually hanging when the journalist came off. So, that is why they were actually in that lineup purely. And again, I don't think in that, on top of that car, people are looking for the videos. People are covering the videos. Now, in covering protests, how do you even show that to your buyers? Let me just be realistic. Are you supposed not to show the public? Are you supposed not to show the police? I know, and I want to debunk this. I know that the safety principle for journalists is, in war or in covering demonstrations, you are supposed to be on the side of the police. But let's get the context here. In demonstrations, you have that is not a field demonstration. Raila Odinga team are doing messaging. That's something that people are targeting. They want to hear what he's saying and how the audience are reacting. And again, it's not violent. We need to put this thing to context. So, let me tell you why video journalists would not be on the other side of the police. So, for video journalists, you are targeting videos. But then let me tell you, that's why it's not advisable we put the camera here, because this resting place up in Akonga is calm. Even if you move, you can easily move this way. If you put your camera here, you can easily move this way. But for photojournalists, they can run with the police. Remember, the police are not stationed somewhere. For them, they are always on motion. So photojournalists ndio wanaweza kaa huko. Sasa they are video journalists and they are photojournalists. All of them are using the cameras. So the photojournalists ni wale wa newspaper. Wao wanataka picha. Then there are those who are looking for the videos. For the videos, you must be somewhere where you are stable. Otherwise, you'll end up getting a shot that is trembling this way. You will not get a static shot. Ile shot yenye city camera tremble. I know sometimes when you watch TV, you realize that the video is moving this way, so you wonder like what's going on. It's because of the camera person. So they could not be on the other side. Number two, do you remember and I think I did that analysis, in Nation, when you are normally with the side of the police, especially the Kenyan one, they will always be your remote. One, they will manipulate you, and they will want that you take photos of protesters. And there are some photos, when with the police, you cannot take a photo of police beating someone. You cannot. And if you take, they will demand that you delete it. They will even assign one person to be in charge of you people. They will always be that. But for the video journalists, you can't. I want us to analyze the pipeline scene with this photo. 2 water cannons. The Land Cruiser is way behind. Even if journalists, and Mohammed Chichopevu should help us answer this question. Now that he's also more seasoned than even me. And he did investigative. He was more dangerous places than me. If the journalists worked with the police, walikuwa nakaa wapi? For them to get the videos, there must be in some rest place. Were they supposed to be on top of the water cannons? That's this reason. Were they supposed to be on top of these water cannons? Or where were they? If they were on ground, will they get the videos? Will they get the shots? No. They will not get the shots. Secondly, in that situation, you normally analyze the situation. You see where is risk. The police are already engaging protesters who have turned violent and are now throwing stones. So if you are that side, so even if you are there, how can you be safe? And that is why it is a lie, but I think successfully media debunked it, that the journalist was hit by stones. No. Ukiwa huku kwa side ya Raila, no protester will throw stones to Raila's vehicle. Take it. No protester will throw stones on Raila's vehicle. So that's why if you are on that side, it's even safer. That's it. And it's clearly that if you hit on this side, you were hit by the tear gas canisters. That's why it was a lie to say that the photojournalists were actually hit by that. So the question of journalists being embedded, surely, I think we need to be very objective. That if they were using that car, number one, it's fitted with the media. Number two, it is the lead car, iko so you can get the shots that editors are looking for. And ukiwa mbele, you can get everything. How can you take shot? Yes, you have your own car as a media house, but you can't be uko nyuma. And if you want to know that the dynamics were different, the journalists that were on top of that car were not only nation and those other journalists, even international journalists were there. So I think on this one, we simply becoming unfair. The tear gas. Let's look at this. Let's look at this one. How are the tear gas supposed to be lobbed? They're supposed to be lobbed down so that hiyo moshi ikitoka inafukuza watu. So the canister is something like this. It's in this shape, in radio. It's in this shape. So if it is lobbed and it hits you here, you can look at that kind of impact. For a photojournalist, there is one fallacy that came out that they were hit inside the car. No. The tear gas canister was lobbed on top. No video journalist was inside the car. Walikuwa juu. So when it was lobbed, it targeted individuals. That's it. So you don't even need to question. Is a tear gas canister supposed to target individuals or it's supposed to disperse the crowd? And if it's supposed to disperse the crowd, by the way, you should not even throw it in the middle of the crowd. You should throw it somewhere close. So ukihit hata hapo chini, ita sprout, then people will receive it. Otherwise, the police have also known if you throw it in the middle, they will catch it and return it. But ukirusha hapo, before hata wafike, inagonga chini, moshi inatoka, then they will disperse. But on this one, the target is that it was a close range and it hit the journalist directly. So I think Mohamed Dijopevu saying that the problem is someone being embedded is totally unfounded. Media cannot be on your side because they can't get the shots. To IG Comey, I know you want. I know it's a bit irritating, I understand. But they can't be, can they on top of the water cannons, watarushiwa mawe? Anyone on the side of the police is now seen as an enemy with the protesters. The police can protect the journalist, but protesters can hit the journalist. They cannot be, and how do you even be on top of those water cannons? Sini kitu hata kuna mali unaweza simama. It's not organized in the media space. That's number one. Number two, for the journalists like Jalango, Boni Msambi, Mohamed Dijopevu should protect their own. Yes, they should. I don't think Mohamed Dijopevu should lead misinformation on this matter. No. He should not lead such misinformation. He should actually protect and say it as it is. Let accommodate everyone. Media is not organizing demos. Those who are organizing demos are the new leadership. So why are we targeting innocent individuals? The same way, the protesters that are robbing other people's shops, the business people you are robbing are innocently. They are not organizing the demos. Those organizing the demos are Raila Odingas. Let's not hunt the messenger. We are creating a rift between the state and the media. But if you ask me, let government take KBC, the national broadcaster, let them give them a space on top of that water cannon so that they can cover and get their version of the story. We see if there is anyone who's going to work at KBC, if that is going to get the shot. But for now, I don't know. If the intention is to make sure that they don't cover, that will fail flat. On this one, the question of people are wrong because they embedded because they needed the shot and it was convenience. Otherwise, the senior journalists are saying that they should be behind, they cannot do anything. Behind which shot are you going to get? And this is a matter of public interest. That's my point.